Hi, welcome aboard. I've wanted to bring you the segment we're going to show you first up today for quite a long time. But before I show you the boat that I'm going to show you, let me give you a little bit of background. Australian boats have evolved largely as a result of pressures from the private pleasure sector. And the perception in Australia is that a boat has to have a lot of internal volume, it has to have lateral stability at rest, and it has to have a reasonably soft ride. Now, the way in which our designers have answered those requirements is to make boats which have around about a 3-to-1 beam length ratio. In other words, they're about a third wide as they are long. That means that they have quite a lot of area underneath the water, and in order to get a soft ride, they have to have a reasonably deep V. In order to get stability at rest, again, the beam has to go out a little bit further because they've got a deep V. Now, boats from overseas, particularly from the Far East and Asia, have evolved under entirely different pressures. Most of the evolution pressures on those boats have been as a result of commercial use, where the boats have to have quite a large amount of internal volume, they have to have a reasonably soft ride, and they have to have stability at rest. Now, if those requirements sound similar to the Australian ones, it's because they are. But the way in which the designers overseas have answered those requirements is exactly the opposite to the Australian example. They've gone for extremely high beam length ratio, which means that the boats are relatively narrow, or appear to us to be relatively narrow for their overall length. As a result of that, they're easy to drive, they run quite well with moderate horsepower, they have an extremely soft ride, and also they are stable at rest. A boat that is, say, 14 feet long and is around about 4 feet wide need not necessarily be more stable than a boat that's 20 feet long and is 4 feet wide, because the dynamics are very similar. So these boats have evolved under entirely different pressures. Now, having said all that, Murray Hallam worked for a long time in PNG, repairing fiberglass boats, and there was a lot of pressure put on Murray to provide a boat which conformed to the Asian design philosophy, but which had qualities of its own. Murray was able to do that. He built a huge number of boats up in PNG, which were used and are still being used to great effect. And recently he moved to Brisbane and set up a factory building and supplying into the Australian market the boats that he designed for the PNG conditions. Now, the dynamics of Murray's boat involve a boat which has an extremely high beam to length ratio. In other words, it's around about 5 to 5.5 to 1 beam to length ratio, and that gives a boat which has that internal volume but which is extremely easy to drive. And as you can see from these pictures, the Stinger is going remarkably well even under heavy side loads and heavy acceleration loads, because it's turning so sharply under the urge of a 90 horsepower two-stroke outboard. And you would expect a boat that's nearly 24 feet long to require at least double that horsepower to come up with these performance characteristics. So that confirms the fact that it's easily driven. Secondly, as far as the structure is concerned, it's a lot easier to design a rigid structure which is long and narrow than one which is short and wide. Murray puts a fiberglass egg crate structure inside his hulls, and he then fills the cavities between that with closed cell polyurethane foam, which gives rigidity and buoyancy and strength, and then he covers the whole lot with fiberglass. So it's effectively a structural tube, if you like, which has internal reinforcement. There is no chance of this boat ever suffering structural damage under normal use, and if it does suffer damage and is holed underneath from external forces, it will stay afloat, it won't even know. In fact, you can put a machine gun through the floor of this boat and have no measurable effect on its overall buoyancy. Now, whilst this boat is work boat in its origin, it's aimed at the pleasure market in Australia, and I have to say that Murray is going to have an uphill battle to change the way in which we think about the appearance of boats in order to get a significant number of these into the marketplace. But Lyndon Wade bought one about 4 months ago. He uses it for his family. As you can see from these still photos taken at Tangalooma, he set it up with a large tent so that they can all live aboard the boat in comfort for several days at a time, and he is absolutely ecstatic about it.
I researched the market for a couple of years before I came up with this boat, and had a look at all the types of half-cab situations on the market, and eventually wanted something that I could use efficiently with a lower horsepower, was seaworthy, was able to carry the family, was able to carry me offshore, and if it blew up in Moreton Bay, which is where I live and generally use my boat, I could get home safely. And this concept proved to do all those things absolutely perfectly, and I'm really happy with the boat so far.
One of the things that Lyndon found in his research was that even though this boat is 7 metres or 23 feet long, it's capable of being comfortably towed behind a 4-cylinder car. Now that's a great advantage. It doesn't cost very much to buy the hull, it doesn't cost very much to buy the motor, but you have a 23-foot boat which will house a large number of people and which has been fundamentally designed to handle the sort of sea conditions that we find on the east coast of Australia, and that is a short, sharp chop. This boat is dry, it handles absolutely superbly, as you can see from these shots. There is no sign of venting of the engine, there's no sign of cavitation. The boat answers its helm immediately, and it does fulfil all of the expectations that I had for the Stinger as a boat which is truly relevant to Australian conditions. We'll be back right after this break. Automotive technology has undergone huge advancements over the last 30 years or so. Cars are safer, easier to handle, easier to drive, and as a result of this, allied with steady population growth, our roads are becoming more and more congested all the time. This, in turn, places ever-growing demands upon road authorities to provide carriageways which are capable of safely handling high traffic flows. And a critical part of this is the way in which road boundaries are delineated. The humble guidepost is an important part of this, and yet it has taken many years to engineer a post which is capable of performing effectively over a long time period. The traditional wooden post works well, but it is expensive, requires constant maintenance, uses a valuable resource, and is subject to deterioration due to weathering and rotting. Many attempts have been made to address these problems using a variety of different materials, and until now, a satisfactory economical answer has eluded manufacturers. The solution to all of these problems is now provided by the Easy Drive range of metal posts by Del North. Del North Proprietary Limited is a privately owned company which was established in 1991 and is centrally located in Newcastle, New South Wales. They specialise in the development of a wide range of profiles using the latest technology, computer-controlled roll-forming machinery. All posts are powder-coated, further increasing their resistance to deterioration. They're available in a wide range of colours, and in the case of guideposts, delineators are fitted at the factory. Easy Drive guideposts, as the name suggests, are easy to install in even the hardest of road shoulders. A special post support is placed on the ground and the post is inserted. The installer then places the post driver over the top of the post and proceeds to drive the post into the ground. The whole process is a one-person operation, and because no ground preparation is necessary, one person can install several posts in the time it takes for a team of workers to install just one. Guideposts are extremely vulnerable to damage by vehicles. As a priority, Del North designed the profiles of their posts to enable them to be straightened even after being completely flattened. We installed a number of posts on a deserted section of road and had a four-wheel drive deliberately run over them. As can be seen, it's a simple task to return them to upright, with the profile maintaining up to 95% of its original rigidity. Tests have shown that the post can easily handle up to 25 such cycles without permanent damage. This translates into a lifetime which is up to 25 times longer than that of other posts, allied with greatly reduced labour costs in their maintenance. It was clear from the outset that the technology was adaptable to a far wider range of applications than guideposts alone. Del North have modified the basic profile, making it ideal for fence posts with holes for wire punched at appropriate intervals. This represents a viable replacement for the star picket. Easy Drive fence posts are available in a variety of lengths, either galvanised or galvanised and powder-coated in a range of colours to suit environmental requirements. This profile is also ideally suited for use as a signpost and will integrate with existing ground sockets. The Easy Drive range has enjoyed enthusiastic acceptance in the marketplace. Del North are in constant contact with authorities around Australia, and feedback indicated that a problem existed in many black spot areas in relation to existing signposts, which suffered frequent vehicle impact. This problem has been solved with the introduction of the FlexiPost flexible signpost. This brilliant technology, developed by Del North in Australia, yields a product which is capable of absorbing multiple vehicle strikes and returning to vertical every time. This has involved intense development and is unique in being able to absorb strikes from any angle. As well, it remains vertical and steady under moderate to strong wind loadings. It's been designed to fit all existing ground sockets and can be fitted in any location using a galvanised steel base plate supplied by Del North and concrete anchors. Flexi-post signs are used at pedestrian refuges, roundabouts, median strips, work areas, bridge approaches, parking bays, and in any location where their unique qualities are called for. Del North have further enhanced the durability of FlexiPost by using shatterproof ProMeg plastic material for the sign plate. This greatly extends the usable life of the sign and reduces the possibility of injury from sharp edges. Another recent Del North development is the plastic end cap fitted to all posts. This enhances the appearance as well as providing a further safety feature. The Del North range has recently been expanded to include fire hydrant and service valve markers, which offer the added advantage of being colour-coded to enhance visibility. The benefits of colour coding are also realised in rural and residential numbering posts, property identification and distance markers.
We're very proud of our products. They have many advantages over other posts. They're very easy to install, they're a one-person operation, and are extremely easy to maintain. For shoulders which are very, very hard, where the easy drive post is having trouble going in, we even now have a slimline post which is heavy duty, and that one is easy to drive in as well. There are many other uses for the slimline posts. We have them for marker posts, guide posts, sign posts, and now with the introduction of an end cap, that will fit over the top of a post, and we can use them for those posts and also a fence post. We'll deliver our products anywhere in Australia nationally, free into store. They're covered by registered designs and trademarks, and we're very proud of the fact that they're 100% recyclable and they're 100% Australian made.
Every time we look at this technology, we find new applications for it. For instance, these 2-metre posts with holes punched at regular intervals down the edge make ideal trellis posts and would be perfect in vineyards or for people who grow climbers. And I'm sure that as they move further into the marketplace, their users will constantly find new applications. Del North Proprietary Limited has enjoyed a period of vigorous expansion during 1995 and 1996. Their market penetration has increased dramatically, and their export initiatives ensure growing overseas sales in coming years. Welcome back. We all hear literally on a daily basis about aspects of our diet that are bad for us, various foods, etc. And I guess if we took notice of everybody who advises us about what to eat and what not to eat, we'd all starve to death in a state of extreme good health. But it's true to say that Australians are red meat eaters. We grow some of the best red meat in the world, particularly beef and lamb, and we have easier access to it than almost any other country in the world. So we do love our red meat, and it's also true to say that red meat carries animal fat. And that's probably the reason that around about 42% of Australians are overweight, are obese, which is a recent statistic I heard. Now, I constantly fight the problem with keeping my weight at some sort of a manageable level, and most of my friends do as well. But I love my steak as much as anybody else does. So I'm always looking for ways of preparing it so that it has the minimum amount of fat. And it's true to say that lean red meat has very little fat in it. And recently, Mario Alfieri, who's been our resident chef on Leisure World for the last 15 years or so, a famous chef around the Gold Coast, came back from America with a product which I looked at and decided was one of the best kitchen items that I'd seen in recent years. Now, it's called the Burton Maxi Stovetop Griller. This is the unit here, and I'll just show you its various features. This is a cast aluminium DuPont Silverstone coated grilling surface. Now, as you can see, it's domed, and I'll tell you about that in just a moment. And underneath it goes this circular pan, which is filled with water while you're cooking. Now, the diameter of this is large enough to sit over the average hot plate on a stove. You simply sit it over the stove, put your 2 cups of water in, use your lifter to put the top of the Maxi Burton griller on and you're ready to cook. Now, Mario and I got busy recently in my kitchen here, and we cooked a variety of foods on this unit. Let's have a look at what happened. Let's put some kebabs on while we're talking. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Go for that. Now, the advantages of that dome-shaped cast aluminium Silverstone top are that when you're cooking on it, the fat runs out of the food and down into the pan underneath, which has the water in it. Now that means that the cooking is extremely healthy, that you don't get fat in your food, it removes it. So it really is an extremely healthy way to cook. And as you can see from the pictures you're looking at now, you can cook just about any type of meat, any type of seafood, and a wide range of vegetables on the stovetop griller. It's enormously versatile. You can cook completely dry, in other words, without oil of any kind, but if you wish, you can also cook with oil as well. That works equally well. The food that comes off it is extremely tasty. It's not contaminated by burnt oil or any of the other problems that you get. And as the oil runs down through the apertures around the edge of the plate into the water, the cooking remains essentially smokeless. So it really is a wonderful way to cook.
Yes, I find that it's a very versatile product, Chris, and really for people that really are in the health kick,
Yes.
they can cook anything they like, you know, without any oil, without any condiments.
Right.
While if you want to have something marinated, it's as good as well. It's very versatile, as I said before.
It sort of moves one step up from the standard hot plate barbecue, doesn't it? Where the hot plate gets burnt food on it and everything stays on it, doesn't drain away.
Yes, I would say it moves a few steps.
A few steps
First
up,
steps
yes.
up. So
Yeah.
in the cleaning, you don't need to really scrape it like we normally do
Yes.
with barbecues. You just wipe it in the water,
Yes.
and all the sediments of cooking, they come off easily.
Well, that's the most important aspect of it. As I mentioned before, the top has a fused coating of DuPont Silverstone on it.
Right. And I find that I saw some imitations, you know, on a smaller scale, but the Burton griller, that's the original one, by the use of a product like the Silverstone DuPont, has really achieved perfection in a way that it is a healthy cooking. It's not just a coating,
Yes.
it's an impregnation of the actual
Yes.
material. So
It's a fused layer on
in
the
other words,
outside.
just to be really to make a comparison. If we think about those cheap non-stick pan, then
Yes.
after we wash twice,
Yeah, that's
all the,
right.
you know, all the coating comes
All the
off.
coating comes off,
This
yes.
will never happen to
And you're
something
left
like
with
this.
a stick pan.
That's correct.
And it's so easy and convenient. I mean, you just set it up on a hot plate, as I said, whether it's on the stove or whether it's on a little gas burner such as this. Extremely portable, very easy to carry around, and you can use it effectively anywhere. It'd be wonderful on a picnic, wouldn't it?
That's
Set
a
up in
picnic on a boat. It's
On
excellent.
the boat, it'd be fabulous.
Fabulous
on
on
the
a boat. Instead of having, you know, just a pans and
Yes.
just one element will cook everything.
Yeah. The other thing about it is, over a period of time, the water, of course, gets warm, and it will boil, and the steam will come up through those holes and help to keep the cooking moist.
That is the most important part. The water works two ways. One, by absorbing the oil and making the actual top grill smokeless.
Yes.
And then by moisturing the food by the vapor that comes out. So if you would have put the sausage on a barbecue right now, you would have had smoke, you would have
Smoke,
oil
yeah,
already
puddle of
dripping and
oil,
everything.
yes,
But
yes.
it is the slow cooking that goes straight through the inside of the sausage.
Yes.
And that makes, makes really this smokeless. We have got a lifter.
Oh yes, the lifter. I nearly forgot that. This little lifter here saves you getting burnt fingers and allows you to lift the plate up. Now, if you do that, put it aside, obviously on a tile surface that can handle the heat. Empty the ring, put this back on. You can simply pick the entire unit up and take it to the dining room table and serve it straight off the plate. And of course, it keeps it warm.
That's right.
Now, this is not the sort of kitchen appliance that you buy, use a couple of times, throw in the back of the cupboard, and then it becomes the last item that sells at your next garage sale. We've used this night and day for a week. I'm delighted with it. Monica absolutely loves it because it's easier for her to cook on it and it's easier for her to clean up afterwards. In fact, we're so impressed with it that I contacted the manufacturers in America, and we have an Australian exclusive on all of Burton's products. Welcome back. We're just about out of time. That wraps us for another week. We'll see you next week with another show. In the meantime, take care and safe boating.